No, as a matter of fact, it looks like I hit a curb trying to avoid a Orlando recycling truck coming straight at me.
Oh,
And instead of going up over the curb, it tore the tire on the side.
oh, sidewall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Thank you.
Ted, hey,
Which is
Joe.
terrible.
Ted said he's refreshed 4 times and he can't get in. So
Oh my
could it
gosh.
be that he's still in Zoom?
It could be.
Okay.
I'll
Hey,
reset it to him again.
Do it.
Bob,
He'll
Bob,
gonna send you another one. Make sure you're totally out of Zoom, but Joe Boy's gonna send you another link. Sometimes that works.
Or have him close his browser and refresh it.
I know that. He's gonna send you a new link. Sometimes that helps.
Well, it's not a new link. It's just resending it just in case I messed up, but I really doubt I did. I can't send a new link. I can send a new link to everybody then, including you.
Got it. Ted's saying it. Okay, got it. Okay.
Got to do it in Chrome, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, bye.
hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Stephanie says hi, Bob, and that she thinks that your brother is better looking.
Man,
Well,
I don't remember reading that. Let me look close. Oh, yeah.
I
I
probably
did
should
say
put
that.
my hair back, right? Normally I have my hair back. Maybe that would help.
Jeff just outed me.
Oh, it was there. Look. Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah. It's in small print. Lowercase. Stephanie has a very hypnotizing headshot. Or is that an avatar? That is an avatar. That's a pretty good one, I will say.
Okay, there we go. We have Ted.
That's Larry.
Wait, where is he?
It's in the lower right.
There he is. Very blurry, by the way, on this. Yes, blurry and slow. There you go.
I think that's your time zone, Ted.
But it is working, Ted.
I know. It's getting better.
Yeah.
I can see the lag. It's a big lag. There you go.
You look.
Oh, wait. Ted number one? Is Ted number one? Oh, let me switch the two out then. Hold on.
I think that's Ted's political acumen, blurry and slow.
He looks clear on the screen.
Luckily, Ted can't hear me.
Oh, he can't? He can't hear us?
No.
Yeah, he can.
It's only
You
Bob.
can hear right now because I haven't disconnected you guys yet.
Oops.
Hey,
Ted with Larry, Ted with Add Reason, Ted with Don with Larry, Don with Add Reason. They all, the scenes seem to work.
Ted, are you at home?
I'm 30 miles from Lake Superior.
I was gonna say that's quite the nice wood ceiling you have.
All white pine up here, bro.
Wow.
Okay.
Is that a cabin you're in or what?
Yeah, it's a cabin right on a place called Garden Lake. There's a big lake complex up here called Lake Namakagon, and this is an offshoot of it. It's all connected. It's a trophy lake, so if you catch a muskie, it's got to be 44 inches.
Wow.
But there's walleye and perch and crappie in here and bluegills. And I was way up north today in Bayfield, in the north of that sand bay called the Apostle Islands. So just to the west is Superior Duluth. All the iron ore would come out of there and go through Superior and down to Chicago or all the way to the New York because of this Great Lakes system.
Oh, wow.
And it was out of Superior that the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is a famous ship in 1929, sunk in a storm and lost about 30 people. That
Are you doing some fishing up there, Ted? Are you getting to fish?
I could. I'm not. The problem with catching a fish is you have to clean it. So that's
Nasty job.
No, you got to learn to eat sushi.
We are almost 10 minutes behind, so we got to get ready to rock and roll. Just reminder, everybody, including Bob, if you are not on the screen, you're talking, the audience cannot hear. That is very, very, very important, especially since Bob is not physically in the building. So he has to be on the screen, so he can't interrupt anyone unless he's on the screen. If No one else is on the screen but you. Feel free to talk as long as you want because no one can interrupt you.
Now, now they can't hear us, right? Nobody will hear us on Zoom, right?
No, Zoom can the show can be heard by Zoom, but the show cannot hear the Zoom in about 10 seconds. I'm about to Zoom mute the Zoom meeting.
Mute
And
the
I
Zoom.
will not be able to hear the Zoom meeting either. So Zoom people, say hello, say something.
Hello, hello, hello.
Nope, can't hear you, and neither can they. So that's perfect.
All right.
That's exactly what we want.
Fucking A.
Hmm?
You heard me.
Why'd you look it up? Okay. You can't.
Did you hear that? No, you didn't hear
So
that.
Ed, did you already know about 2025 or what?
Yeah, I read some stuff on it.
Yeah, I read some the history of it. It's actually not really new. It's just a continuation of stuff over the years. Actually, 1981 that's when it started.
Okay, can I get everyone to give me a quick sound check so we can knock this out? Gotta start with
Hello.
Ted.
Hello.
Bob.
Hello.
Here.
Larry.
I am here waiting for Ted.
And Don.
I can hear you. Peace out. Can you hear me? Peace.
And Ed Reason.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got histograms. Excellent. Okay, we're getting ready to set this up. Timers are going. We all ready to rock and roll?
We are ready.
Okay. Huh? Timers are not reset. Did you do something? Okay, resetting all the timers. All timers are reset. Don't forget to mark Bob's because he's now moved locations, but it should be the same for you. Okay? Everything should be the same for you if you do. Okay? Okay. Setting video. Video active. Setting audio. I need sounds because of this. Okay, sound on the set in 5, 4. This is Joe Boy with WJHM102jams.com recording Third Side Convo. Starting in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to The Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Ted Johnson, Don Thomas, Larry Haber, and Ed Reason. And now, your host, Bob Phipps.
Oh, gosh, it's so great to see people from around the world. I happen to be in England right now on a vacation, and we're going to be talking about Project 2025. What the heck is it? Kind of a mystery a little bit. It's been out there around the internet. It's actually been around a long time, as Don was talking about a few minutes ago. It pretty much is the Republican or a proposed Republican platform put out by a group called the Heritage Foundation, which is certainly a right-leaning foundation. I thought that one of the things that we ought to do on the show is kind of look at what both parties are saying. So tonight it's going to be the Republicans. We're going to see what those conservatives are up to. And I know that Ted and Don are itching to throw some things out there. But that's what we're going to do. Now, as you know, we use a term called Uber discourse to talk about any subject. And why we do that is we realize that we have to take the politicians out of this thing. I mean, the politicians cause most of the confusion, the problems, the division within our country. So if we can just agree to not talk about any specific politician, we're not going to talk about what they said and what they did, then we can maybe get somewhere. So tonight we're going to be talking about Project 2025. So I'm going to go on and start on the left with this. So we're going to start on the left, and Ted or Bart Starr, I think he's shown up there. Ted is going to kind of lead us out and just give us some opening thoughts on things that you want to talk about. And what I want y'all to realize here, it's made up of a ton of different things, of which some of those things we could spend a whole show talking about. So we're going to have some fun trying to just zip through it and see what we got, see where we agree and where we don't. So Ted Johnson from Wisconsin, let's start out with you.
Well, it's a very simple but very complex piece that has four main tenets. Project 2025 basically wants to allow a former president, if he's reelected, to wield his power to systematically eliminate federal agencies, consolidate presidential power, and make Christianity central to the government policy. There's other issues too, like he wants to
is there a problem with that?
mandate that a man and a wife are the only people who can get married. The policies include such driven social policy as to a man and a woman being central to our culture. And I just want to know how they're going to enforce all this. I think it's unenforceable. I think actually many of the proposals and provisions of the policy would be slammed into court so fast it would make even Clarence Thomas head spin.
Well, we need more for the attorneys to do around in our country, don't
Absolutely.
we? Ed,
We got a lot more. Yeah.
Ed, would you like to respond to any of those, or just kind of give me your opening thoughts on this, and then we can jump back into the specifics?
Yeah, I agree with what he said. And a lot of the premise in that is true, but he said he wants to do it. And that is assuming that a particular person wants this agenda. And that's not the case. This is a group that's trying to push the agenda forward for the Republicans. Why I agree with a lot of the tenets. I do. Some of them are way off. And like anything, whether it be maybe even a DEI type of a thing, there's a lot of tenets there that not everybody can agree with, but they're trying to push it through. So this is not a new procedure or plan for anyone. It just happens to be on the right this time.
The only thing I'd say is a quick comeback to that is like more than 40 people who had written pieces or co-authors of the policies came out of the former president's administration.
Yes.
Right. And I think there's like 300 people. I think there are like 300 people that have contributed to this. The thing's 900 pages, and I think the first 80 of them are people's names and their bios and stuff. Right.
Exactly.
Don, give me your thoughts.
Right.
Don,
I think one of the scariest things about it is like they plan to hire like 500 loyalist lawyers to be on the administration. You know, they're doing so you start getting that kind of many lawyers. You're trying to vet. You're trying to get a lot of the legal stuff done when you got that many lawyers, and that's the scary part of it. Well, but also part of it is for the little guy. And this is the way in America it is. America has changed. This is going back into the future. Back into the past. America has changed, so this is kind of taking us backwards instead of taking us forward, and that's the problem that I have with it. You know.
Okay. All right, Larry. You got to listen to the others. Now let's hear your opening.
The first thing about this is it's not the candidate himself or that party for the candidate that is putting this platform out, and so I don't think that this should be fair game for attacking everything that the Republicans and particularly Trump are up to. So I have a problem with the premise. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
You know, we got a lot of people. You get a lot of people talking about you were just saying that the lawyers. That's always going to be a problem, no matter which side is. The left has been doing that for a long time with the Supreme Court, or trying, and so forth. So this is not anything new. The new thing about this is that it's making it seem like it's so radical. And if you go back to, and I'll give you a great example, Javier in Argentina. He has stripped those departments down to nothing. Working away.
Exactly.
Like I said, those are things that are done on the courts on the side. I don't think government needs to be involved in that. That's not their business.
There's another issue about when you talk about this is just a man and a woman, but what about the mandate of they're trying to deport all these people out of this country? How are you going to find out who's illegal and not legal you're
Well,
going to have to go through some kind of stop and frisk
because it started
system
when they
where
came in the
people on the street
country.
that may
That
look
would be a
illegal,
start.
and they're going to be harassed until they find their paperwork, whatever like that. Because you just can't just round people up and thinking they're
Absolutely.
illegal by looking at
One
them.
who is married
Well,
to
That's
legal
just a
immigrants.
That's actually pretty simple.
I'm in favor
You
of
just
that.
catch them on the hiring process or on the tax process or any input into government services. That catches them every time. But I don't believe you can go and pick people randomly. I think that, that you were talking about the random frisk search, that I think that's totally illegal. It's not right.
But that's what it's going to lead to.
That's an assumption that it's going to
I
be.
know
Exactly.
it's an assumption, but the history
It is an
that-
assumption.
I think some
Well, what do they say about assumptions?
have
assumption.
done away with it,
I was
but
going to say assumptions are just that. I think
you
that
don't
there's
need probable
still
cause.
a reasonable ground in there,
Yeah.
but
Probable
I
cause.
like a lot of them. I don't like some of the I'll call it the soft stuff in there, but the hardcore stuff about cutting down these departments, I'm all for it. Limiting this government, bringing it down. You were talking about bringing it back to the people.
Private
That's how that-
sector.
Well, I agree to a certain extent that some part of the government that we can look at that part. So that's probably the sliver agreement that I have on this one. That government is too big. We can look at people being departmentalized.
Hearing a sliver.
There is a lot of those. So I can see a slightly agreement on that. So we're starting to slightly agree on certain things. That's how we're supposed to do it here at the third side combo, right?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Or be a protester like me.
Or be be a protester. But overall, this whole plan is it's putting us back, and I think that where we need this country, since this country
It's
is
opening
changing,
up conversation.
to the future plans, because this was developed in 1981 and it's been going on, and so they just kind of added more to it. So it's not a future based conversation.
Well, I think we also said that a lot of those people that put it together were ones that have left the so-called circle. So that says a lot, that they're moving in maybe a different direction than that particular group, or we'll say the Republican Party is in general. There's always hardcore, on each side of that. But I think that really was what you said was really prominent. That group is kind of eased out, and they're trying to come back in and take that power back or control. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think what it was trying to do, I believe, is it, like you said, it started in 1980, where they would put together policy recommendations for a person to come in and take over. And again, what we're going to do later on after the DNC happens, I want to actually have a show where we look at the Democratic platform. Okay, would be a good idea. Ted, it's good to have you back.
Right.
Hi, Ted.
Well,
Modern technology.
hey, you're in a cabin in Wisconsin, Ted. What are you supposed to do? You're in a cabin, right? It looks like you're roughing it there.
Well,
We could go anywhere. I do want to talk about that. I mean, certainly the family was a big part of this, right? I mean, that was what I saw as one thing. How do you promote policies that promote family? That's what they want to do.
I don't know if you want to listen to it or not.
Yeah, we'd see what that.
Tell parents about their children wanting to select their own gender. The point is, the schools are not recommending them doing that. The schools are trying to promote acceptance and tolerance. They're not telling the kids to do it, but everybody thinks the schools are out there with the scalpels and the gowns and ready to cut up kids and make them, whatever they want to be. And it's not the case. So I think the real question is when something like Project 25 comes up, what are you afraid of? Why do you think you have to have these policies? Why do you think it has to be man and woman only? Why? Why does Christianity have to be central to government policy? Why?
Okay, well, that's a perfect place. We're going to take our first break. We're going to start with Larry when we come back, but we've got to see from our sponsors right now. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar
That was
needs,
exciting.
whether that's a brand new humidor.
Steve, feel free to chime in with a pithy short comment when you get the opportunity. Same for you, Peter.
Oh, I see Peter's on.
Stephanie.
Steve's on. Stephanie, you can type something and we'll repeat it since you don't have a microphone. I think it opens it up for debate. I think to me, I read what I read from 2025 was it just opens up discussion. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Welcome. What did you think? Did you get how much were you able to hear?
About the last 7 words.
Oh, okay.
I just tuned in.
They were very important 7 words. They weren't.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put them in that order.
I'm so happy that actually
TV.
Tiberius is actually his voice is broken. We're gonna have to have him come over that commercial and do it.
Yeah.
What is
Don't
your
grow up.
it definitely has a huge Christianity view to this, right? I mean, and certainly, do you have any special thoughts on that? That there's a way that they can do that, or is that what's your view?
No, I don't have any problem with religion in people's lives. I just don't like the fact that the government may, on occasion, decide that this is what people should accept. And I don't think the government has ever done that. So I'm fine with religion, Christianity, family being strong. All of those things are what made this country what it is today. And places that are taking that what we are today down, pretty much are on the left and the right coasts at this point. So that's where we are.
Ted, I know you want to respond to that. I mean, does Larry have a point there that we're not focusing
the left
on
and right coasts are what's taking this country down? Really? Wow.
Yes.
It seems like we lost him. His squirrel's not working.
He's frozen with fear.
And they worship God, but there's 3 or 4 of them in a marriage. How are we gonna deal with that? It's God first, so, but it's only 3 in a marriage. Is that gonna be okay?
Why do you have to make this the platform for what is happening in an election when you've taken an obviously conservative Christian organization that says they want to see these things happen? And now we're debating whether or not those things should happen or not. That's what the ballot is for. Okay. If there are enough people that are like this and the family and the strong Christian nation, then they're going to elect the person they want to elect. It is very, very clear to me that we have 2 different sets of future views. And I'm not in favor of the one that, even though it's on the right side sometimes, it still isn't what we need to have for this country. And so
the thing is that it's not in the Constitution, the name is separation of church and state, except the founders never wanted a national religion. They believed in all religions. That's why freedom of religion is so strong. All religions. So the separation of church and state, I think, is sacred. And when you talk about this thing, eliminates that, and that's scary.
It doesn't.
It assumes that that's what's going to happen.
Freedom of religion.
Those are all just sentiments or potential things based on, but most of that stuff never flies. Most of these things never get through. You know, I'm not, like I said, I don't care about people's bedroom. I don't care about people's religion. That's yours. Knock yourself out. I do care about what people are doing to our structures that allow us all to share or have those faiths and beliefs equally. And right now, when you've got the government's overrunning a lot of things that is totally never meant to do. And if somebody can tell me one particular government agency that does a good job financially with results and in a good time frame, I would love to know which one that one is.
Well, here's one for you. The governor of Louisiana wants the 10 Commandments and biblical scriptures in classrooms.
Just one.
Is that a good one?
I don't talk about Louisiana. I'm talking about the federal government.
Oh.
One agency, just one.
I thought
one agency that takes care of people, you know,
that does it financially responsible on a timely basis, effectively.
Well, you just got rid of a government everywhere.
No such
you just got rid of state governments like that. But
because
I can see
they evolve away from what their true purpose is to becoming the entity that everything must serve. And this Project 2025 if it were put in place, it would be its own entity that everyone would have to serve. And I don't think that that's good for anybody.
Well, there are like an agency, but there are a lot of people in the government that may help the government run. Like there's a lot of I say mostly women that actually make this government work because they do the dirty work that doesn't get behind the scenes. The people on the legislature, the people who runs the staff, the people who are running the staff, getting the talking points ready for everybody else. There's a lot of people in the government that actually work hard, and it's not seen. Even like the smaller agencies, like TSA, they're getting paid one of the lowest paid agencies out there, but they're protecting our country. And
I didn't say there's no spot for government. I think government's actually too big and it's too inefficient doing things.
There are agencies out there, and they work on a budget. They work on a smaller budget than anybody else.
We can't make any testing aspersions on the TSA.
Well, Ed, I can give you an example. I
can't hear us.
They do take a lot of
breaks. An
breaks.
engineer in the Atomic Energy Commission of the United States, federal agency. There was a atomic waste plant outside Colorado, and they had to dismantle it. This takes 20 years. It costs billions and billions of dollars. He looked it over, said, you know what? There's ways to do it. He took it down in 4 years, and he saved about $15 billion. There are experts in the government who know what they're doing. And a lot of them work for the government and do good jobs. You say all agencies. When you say all agencies, it gets a little crazy.
Well, when I say all
agencies, it gets a little crazy. You got to siphon them out.
The amount in that agency is totally unnecessary, and there are good people, absolutely. And
now there's good people.
You think about what's the biggest employer in the world right now?
The biggest employer?
Disney.
Pharmaceutical?
Disney. No, just kidding.
We would think it's so inefficient. And my thing is that the more we give them leverage, the more they take from us. And whether you want to have the women's rights or whatever particular viewpoint you have, we all lose that because what they say tolerance. Aristotle, I think, said tolerance is the dildo that allows intolerance to pass, type of a thing. It's
tolerance is the what? I'm sorry, I missed.
I know one system that is the most wasteful, and everybody all kind of agree is the Congress and the senators and the legislature meetings. All those guys, they're one of the biggest wastes of money that we can think of. They recently had a thing on refrigerators. Are you kidding me?
And stoves and
refrigerators,
Cokes, and just things that are just.
I mean, that's the biggest. You want some of the biggest waste. But putting the Project 25, what it would do is it's going to take away what they're talking about, swiping a whole bunch of people out of the government that doesn't need it. They need to take their time and look to see who is doing the dirty work, who's not doing the work. Just don't come in on 180 days and start wiping people out. That's ridiculous. People got pensions, people got stuff, and you're talking about wiping them out and coming in 180 days and wiping these people out. You have to do your time, your research.
We would know that it couldn't happen like that. They can't do anything in any length of time. So whatever they decide to do, we probably all would agree it isn't going to happen for a long time.
All right. I need to hear from Larry. Larry,
government inefficiency is not handled.
There's a little more maybe paring down or efficiency in private enterprise versus government. I mean,
I totally agree with that. And the private sector, the capitalist private sector, which we all know and love, is going to outdo anything that anybody in the government could ever possibly do. Government's role should be very limited, and it's to protect things like life, safety, foreign affairs, and so forth. And getting into the middle of all the things that the government gets into now and overregulates, just like California does now.
Yeah, of course, California. Yeah,
it is.
Right.
It is. I'll give you one example.
Politicians shouldn't profit.
Okay, if I go to work in California for one day and then I leave, you know that California taxes me for my income because I was physically in California, even though I'm not a resident.
Did you know that it's exactly true? When baseball players come in and they're making $3 million a year, those 3 days or 6 days they play in California, they do pay state income tax, the state of California. You're absolutely right. As they do in Florida. I don't know if that's Florida, as they do in Texas, as they do in Wisconsin.
We don't pay as much as
state income tax.
Hopefully somebody will correct him.
And yeah, money in the state, you got to pay the taxes if they have state taxes.
I've worked side by side.
Yes.
California,
Right. You make money here. The
Florida
state,
making
the state says you're using
California
our
wages,
roads, using
and I
our
make
water,
Florida
using
wages.
electricity. So don't you think you should pay your fair share?
Right.
Your A share?
Hey, look at a guy had a business in California.
Okay, we're going to have to take another break again. But when we come back, I would like somebody to explain to me what this whole civil service thing is. And I know Don and Larry and our attorney might be able to say something on this, but I'd like to know, why can't federal workers be fired? I just would like to know that if they goof up, because I know that people here, I get fired by clients constantly. I mean, it happens, okay? So what we're going to do is, what I'd like you to do is check us out on Facebook. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe on, YouTube, because we just got to keep this thing going. We got to have regular people be able to sit down and have a conversation like this without naming names. It is wonderful. We'll be right back.
Anybody who's on Zoom, you can check out Stephanie's take on Project 2025 in the chat box.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a mic or a camera today.
She said Project 25 sounds like a pipe dream for certain brands of conservatives and sounds like something very unlikely to achieve mainstream support. Seems like it's all good for its ammunition for liberals to scare people away from voting conservative. That's my first impression anyway. And that's from Stephanie. And I agree. I think Project 25, to me, I thought could open up the discussion. But instead, it's having the opposite effect, and it's just becoming a bigger division. All the arguments I saw against Project 25, especially from the liberal side, was a lot of knee-jerk reaction.
A lot of what?
Knee-jerk reaction.
All right, now we're back. And
All right,
so
now we're back.
one of the biggest things about Project 2025 was they went through every different department of the government, and they said, we need to really think about this. So Larry, what is the legal aspect as to why federal employees can keep their jobs no matter what happens?
Without getting into all the details of the civil service and all the things that are necessary to either fire or remove somebody for incompetence, the bottom line is that over time, the people that could be affected have changed and would like to see people not get fired. They want to do everything possible to keep their jobs, whether they're good or bad. In the private sector, if you're not productive, you're gone. In the government sector, if you're not productive, you get promoted. And that's what I have a problem with. I think
That's not true either.
Well, it's not true, man. It's not true.
No,
That's not true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick. I think that the civil service issue goes back to New York and Boss Tweed and Tammany Hall. Basically, these people were appointees by a political leader, a mayor in New York. And basically, these people, if the new mayor came in, he would fire them and bring his own guys in. Well, that's what they wanted to protect. The person was doing a good job, but because he didn't vote for the next governor, he got fired. That was the protections they wanted for people working civil service, because they want these people to have the idea of work for the public.
So bad that he had to become a stand-up comic, which is so low.
I've never heard it explain that. Hey, Dad, I appreciate that. I've never heard that explained like that.
Go to history class once in a while.
Let's go back in.
I wouldn't sing him last a minute.
Private sector and companies.
I don't know how you guys do it.
They get bought, they get sold, they go out of business. Management.
They lay people off indiscriminately. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so from now on, we shouldn't bother with letting companies make those decisions.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But when you take a company like Tesla or SpaceX, that Elon Musk guy, he's such a great guy. How about the $6 billion of California state subsidies given to him to build his factories and develop his companies? He's talking about leaving because he's such a crybaby about Newsom.
Exactly.
California were business friendly, he'd stay.
That be the California legislature.
He's not the only one leaving California.
They promoted the company. He hired jobs. He's developed good cars. He's developed a rocket.
Because the money they gave them, and they don't like it because he didn't do what they wanted.
I saw a meme today
It
that
should.
owns
The money goes to the
on
plants.
Twitter.
But
So it
I'm
owns
gonna say
X
something about the
Okay, well,
about
hey,
the
Don, talk
they're
about
both
it. Don, you
moving
were a
to
civil
Texas.
servant. So Don,
So
you
civil
put
service,
your
what's
I
the
was
deal
in-
with
you know, I was
all my
in
exes
for
live in
9 years.
Texas?
So every department in the government, they have a form called the table of penalties of what you have to get fired. There's like a 28 page, and they have all the table of penalties of how you can get fired, how you cannot get fired. Now, as being a union person, I had seen people get fired for no reasons, but it takes there's a step process in it. That's the part that is hard. But there's a step process to be in it. People get fired. I see people get fired left and right because they follow the penalties. So if you cross one of those penalty lines, you're automatically into you might go into litigation, you might go into arbitration, whatever. But people do get fired if they're not doing their job. So it's a
it
misconception.
just takes a little bit of time. All right.
It takes a while.
Okay,
They do
believe
get
it or
fired.
not, we've been having so much fun here. We got to kind of go to closing remarks. So we're going to be on the 30-second. We're going to be on the 30-second hourglass. All right. So here we go. So we're going to start. Ed, we're going to start with you. Give me what you liked most or didn't like about Project 2025. Go.
Well, I like the most is that they want to get the government reduced. And I'm in favor of, not cutting people wholesale, nothing like that, but finding out what's efficient, as Don said, what's not, thinning that down, getting it lean and mean like any other business, which saves us all tax money, which can be used for different things. What I don't like about it is they get into, again, some of those vaguer things about sexual preferences, marriage and all that. That's not their business. I don't think that's necessary. It's not the government's business either, and they need to keep themselves out of it. Sorry.
All right, Don, give me your thoughts.
Well, I'm kind of good there. I like the part of them going into government, looking to see what doesn't work, but they can't stop by with the civil service workers. They need to start with the top, like in the Congress people, to start with that area, because that's one of the biggest areas they have to work out. Trim that down. Trim how they're paid and getting extra bonuses and stuff like that. Trim that down first.
Insider trade.
Then you can start going to other people. So I don't believe this.
Okay, Larry, Project, what'd you like? What'd you love?
Anything that has to do with making government smaller and more efficient.
Amen.
Well, thank you. And you saved us some time. So Ted, you don't get to use it. Go, Ted.
Yeah.
I don't get to speak.
Yes.
Larry gave you all his
What
time.
I like about it is that if you get partisan control, you take control of the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Commerce, the Federal Communications Commission, and the Federal Trade Commission. So let's say Kamala gets elected. Let's say somebody gets elected. Let's say a certain party gets in power in both houses. Can that person pack the FBI and the DOJ with former Black Panthers and put bounties on police officers who shoot innocent people? Can you put a controlling board of Earth first in the Department of Interior and tell people that they have to rip up their land and give it back to Earth?
Yeah, right.
Could that happen?
And we're gonna take that. Get rid of that guy.
He did try to catch himself to get
partisan control. If that's what you want, it goes the other way too.
It
I wouldn't be
happens
so hard
as
on
if we
Ted.
don't have partisan control right now. But journalists, all these other people, they're all going to be put in jail. I mean, look, we've had a two-party system for 170 plus years. Okay, the world's okay. We're going to be fine because we've got people like y'all that are willing to come on a show and have fun. And all of the bad stuff goes through emails. Most everybody doesn't see it. This is a wonderful show. Thank you, Ted, for coming in from Wisconsin on your vacation. I'm here from England. The rest of y'all, we will see you next time on the Third Side Convo. Bye.
Wow. That was as fiery as we thought it would be.